Good morning, and welcome to your weekly message from First Congregational Church, Milford, New Hampshire. I'm your pastor, Al Hoyt. Today is Thursday, November 23rd, Thanksgiving Day. I hope that you are where you're going to be for your celebrations today. I hope that you're with the people that you want to be with. So the office, of course, is closed today and tomorrow. Saturday, November 25th, will be the greening of the church. This weekend is also the Festival of Trees over at the Colonel Shepherd House. I hope to see many of you there. It's to benefit Share, and I'll be there part of the day working a shift. So hope to see many of you there, and hope to see many of you come and contribute. There's lots of things to bid on. There's lots and lots of excellent gifts that you can get through there. So this Sunday, November 26th, is Reign of Christ Sunday. We will be welcoming a new member. Following the church service, we will have coffee hour. The church teaching committee will be meeting in my office immediately following worship. And then following the service, they'll begin setup for the Hollyberry Fair. All of next week, beginning on Sunday, going all the way through, setup and preparation for the Hollyberry Fair will be going on in the parish house. On Tuesday, 6:30 to 9, the Souhegan Valley Chorus will be rehearsing here in the sanctuary. On Wednesday, November 29th, poinsettia orders are due at the church. From 9:30 to 1:30 on Wednesday, you can drive in to pick up your communion elements if you're one who celebrates communion from home. Again, on Thursday, from 9:30 to 1:30, you can come in to pick up your communion elements. All day will be set up in preparation for the Hollyberry Fair. At 7:30 on Thursday evening will be choir rehearsal. Friday, December 1st, the church office will be closed. Carol will be here, but she'll be over at the parish house working on setting everything up and getting everything finalized for the Hollyberry Fair. On Saturday, December 2nd, the Hollyberry Fair. It'll be being set up from 7:30 to 9, and from 9 to 2 is the Hollyberry Fair. And at 2 o'clock to 4 p.m. is the cleanup afterwards. So I hope to see quite a few of you there to help with all the different ways we need help. And Sunday, December 3rd, is the first Sunday of Advent. The cheese table is back at Hollyberry Fair. That's still not too late to sign up at the sheet this Sunday for the cheese. This is the last Sunday coming up that you can sign up to bake cookies for the Hollyberry Fair. Look for Sue Darlene or Betsy Sullivan at coffee hour. Carol can answer any questions about baking. Hollyberry Fair volunteer sign up in the parish house is right next to the cheese sign up sheet. We're looking for helpers in all departments and cleanup as well. So come and have a good time. The Hollyberry Fair online portion is already live and will be live until November 30th. So if you bought something through the online, you can pick it up at the Hollyberry Fair. If you do not want plants for the if you don't want to order poinsettias for the Christmas Eve service, you can fill out the back side of the form and put a dedication into the bulletin without having to do the flowers. So there's a lot going on. It's getting to be busy and kind of exciting. So, but with Thanksgiving coming on, I always like to remind folks that the story of the first Thanksgiving is so much urban legend at this point. Yes, the Separatists did celebrate a harvest feast after the fall harvest at the Plymouth colony, and they didn't actually invite the Indians. The Indians kind of showed up, but like a good guest, the Indians showed up with food. It was not, technically speaking, a Thanksgiving feast. It was a harvest feast. The actual first Thanksgiving didn't happen until November of 1863, when Abraham Lincoln signed into law that the third Thursday of November would be the National Day of Thanksgiving. So the idea of celebrating the Pilgrims and all of that stuff really got kind of stylized, and kind of the real story of the Pilgrims is far, far more interesting. It's also much more challenging. As I've recommended to many people, if you haven't read it, read Nathaniel Philbrick's book, Mayflower. It details the struggles that the separatists went through to be able to come here. It goes through the struggles of the business that they had to conduct in order to get the things they needed to come here. And then, of course, the struggles that most of us know of getting enough people to go. I'm always surprised that 102 people were on board that tiny little ship. Imagine being 102 of us in the church on one side only, in a space that's no more than 5'5" tall. So anyone taller than 5'5" would have to walk around bent over all the time, with very little ventilation, very little privacy. It must have smelled pretty bad by the end of the 3-month tour, 3-month journey. But I've always find that part remarkable, that 102 people, couples, children, all of the other things that went with it, and all their supplies went in that tiny ship. And if you do look at the Mayflower, you see it is a tiny ship. It's almost frightening to think of going across the North Atlantic in the fall, when the weather is really not all that good. And then, of course, we all know about the starving time that came that winter, that first winter that they were there, when almost half of the total number of people that came died during that first winter. The part that they sometimes forget, or people sometimes forget, is that the starving time was actually the second winter that they were there. A ship came in with about 40 new colonists and didn't have any supplies for them. So all of the bounty that they'd had in the first harvest got used up well in advance of what they had planned on. If they had not had those people show up at the colony, they probably would have been okay. But in the end, they were living on 5 kernels of parched corn apiece until the first spring harvests came up. It is a fascinating story, and it is an absolutely wonderful story of perseverance. One of the other misconceptions is that of the 102 on board the Mayflower, only 50 of them were separatists. The other half were explorers. They were people with prices on their head. They were scoundrels. They were not members of the church congregation. And that the fact that of the survivors, it was about half separatists and half adventurers, or what the separatists called others. And during that time, there was a lot of tension between the separatists, who were trying to live a faithful life and trying to live according to the gospel, and the adventurers, who really didn't see any need in doing that or any use for doing that. So it's a fascinating story, and it's something that bears us learning the actual story and learning the real struggles that they went through to go through to the point where they could thrive. I love the story. So, and I have been studying it and learning about it for a very long time. I am a direct descendant of John Alden. My mother's side of the family is, my grandmother did the genealogy years ago, and I've confirmed it through my ancestry roots. It's a very interesting story, especially when you have feel like there's some kind of personal connection. I was reading just yesterday that there are 30 million people in the United States who can claim Mayflower heritage who can claim direct descendancy from one of the Mayflower passengers. 30 million. I find that absolutely amazing. So join me in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. I hope you have an absolutely delightful and grateful and joy-filled Thanksgiving celebration. Whether you're with just the immediate family or whether you're with the extended family, I hope that you have an absolutely, absolutely wonderful time. And as I mentioned at the Thanksgiving dinner on Sunday, don't go last if your family is offering around the table what everyone's thankful for, because you might be stuck with something like good dental care. And with that, have a joyful Thanksgiving. Take good care of each other. Take good care of yourself. And God bless you.